In this video here, we're going to talk about the Burr to Burr incision here. Basically, we're just going to take our scalpel blade and cut in between the burrs. And we'll just open this up here. The Burr to Burr incision's a nice easy incision. It takes a little bit more time to skin it out, but when we put it together, we only have to sew up between the burr to the burr. So we're just going to take our scalpel blade here. We're going to work it up to the burr, loosen it up as much as we can, and then we're going to end up taking a screwdriver here and once it's loosened up a little bit, we just take our flat screwdriver here. We'll work it around these antler burrs, and that'll pop the skin pretty much off the whole way around. Just kind of work it in there and use a little bit of a hard pressure here and slowly work around here. Okay, now that we pretty much have our antler burr cleaned off, got the skin worked off of them with the screwdriver, our next step here is going to be to take our scalpel blade and we're just going to work the skin forward as far as we can work it, and then we're going to work it back as far as we can work it. When we do the burr to burr, at this point we have to remove the antlers so that we can skin this head out. If you do any other incision, like a Y incision, short or long, you end up skinning the head out and then removing the antlers after. But when we do the burr to burr, we have to go ahead and remove them now. So we're just working our skin back, we're loosening it up, and once we have it loosened up pretty good, we're going to pull the skin as far forward as we can pull it, and then we're going to take an oscillating saw here. I just have the Dremel Multi-Max, but any oscillating saw will work. I think I just have a wood bit on this one. Certain bits will probably cut a little better than others, but they'll all pretty much cut it. This one I've cut quite a few with, so it's getting a little duller. But we're just going to kind of work it through. You'll feel it pop there, and then when we get under the antlers, you just kind of want to work it till it's about halfway underneath, and then we'll end up pulling it from the backside, pulling the skin back, and we'll kind of meet them close together there. And you just want to be careful that you don't accidentally have the oscillating saw here. You make sure it doesn't jump out of your hand and accidentally cut these burrs, and especially when we're on the backside here, you don't want to bump those burrs. If you do, your hair will somewhat cover it, and it's not a hard fix, but it's easier to not do it in the first place. And once we have it cut loose, we're just going to take our antlers and we're just going to give it a quick pop on the countertop, and that'll loosen our antlers up pretty good. If it takes any more than just a quick pop, then you probably need to get a little bit closer with your oscillating saw, cut a little deeper, because it really shouldn't take much. And then we'll just take our knife, we'll have a little bit of fibers here holding it, and we'll cut these off. We'll have our antlers removed. Now we kind of have our antlers removed, and you can see the only incision we're going to have to sew up when we put this thing back together is just this little piece across here. And we're going to go ahead and clean these antlers up a little bit. I'll just take my flat screwdriver and take that membrane there out of the brain cavity. We'll cut some of the meat off and clear a little bit of the membrane off. And I do like to cover them in borax, and I'll just let them in borax until we go to mount it. The antlers are removed. We're going to basically pull the skin forward and skin it out. I'm not going to show you this process. It's basically the same as skinning as any other process, but we'll pull it forward. It works better with a smaller neck, but you can do it with if they left a big chunk of neck in there too. But you pull it forward, skin it out, and then we'll pretty much be done, salt flesh and ready to tan. Okay, you can kind of see right there's our skinned out deer. There's the incision that we made. Put it together, brush these hairs. There's really not much incision to have to see. It leaves less stitches for us to see, less chance of stitches pulling just because you're not stitching as much. And they're not going to be down the back. They're just going to be in between the burrs. But this is how I do probably 90% of the deer I do. I'd still do a couple with the Y incision, but this is probably 90% of them. And it just gives a nice look for us.